Alright, folks, we're getting into game number 1 of a brand new best of 5. This is the losers match. And a little important detail to cover for this that we'll go over in a moment. But for now, in the bottom right side, fighting for his life to stay in the tournament, it's going to be the green Zerg player, Elazer.
In the top left is the blue Terran. He is Liquid Bunny.
Okay, I'm hearing some fuzzy something coming from somewhere, and I don't know what's causing that.
Wisconsin making fuzzy noises.
Hang on. Do me a favor, hang up Skype real quick. I need to identify whether this is your end or my end. That is 100% Zombie Grub's end. Okay, that's not good to know. Let's hope that when she calls back, it's fixed, perhaps? Hello?
Hello.
Nope, it's definitely still something on your end. You got like a loose wire or something. Or a loose connection somewhere. So do me a favor and mute yourself while you fiddle with it so it doesn't break my ears. There we go. Alright, so let's hope she can fix whatever's wrong. I was just going to mention really quick though, Bunny is perhaps having some medical issues. I won't go into anything because it's private, but for this reason, if he wins this match and goes to the decider, we will be moving the decider best of 5 to another day, and we'll have to eventually cast that from a replay. I don't mind accommodating this because he's letting us know ahead of time, but also that it's something that's totally manageable. Unlike the situation yesterday for SOS, where this could have been an option that we had tried to present to him, he had just said no, he was done. So, should this be the case, we can easily move something around for Bunny. We always try and accommodate players for our tournaments and events. But, yeah, we'll see if he wins this one first, because that's going to be what matters most. If Elazer wins, then it's not an issue at all. And actually, funny enough, if Elazer wins, and Nurchio beats you Thermal like I think one would assume, we will actually have had 5 best of 5s, all TvZ. And that is going to be fantastic. But let's see if, how you sounding there, girl? Hello? Are you still muted on your end? Then you broke something. It's bad news bears, guys. We're gonna attribute this to her cat. Perhaps, mayhaps have been chewing through the cord. This has happened before.
First blood.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, I guess.
Okay, I can hear you again. You're clear. So it's not a case of the cat nibbling through the cord. Good science. Good news.
No, he hasn't nibbled through this cord.
Yeah, so there was no sound for, or no problems for a while, but then like something about that intro, it just started going like.
Ugh. That's weird.
So yeah, I'm glad. I guess it was just a loose cable or something. I'm assuming, or.
I just plugged in the mic again.
Cool. Hey, whatever works. It's kind of slowly creeping back. It's very quiet and subtle right now, so I'm not gonna worry about it. But if it starts getting loud again, I'm just gonna maybe need a cord or something. But at any rate, we got Speed coming out really quick out of Elazer, so gonna be able to see him kind of shuffle his Overlord's booty around, get some nice scouting. Did you hear what I had said about Bunny though before?
I did. Yeah, I heard everything.
Okay, I wasn't sure what was or wasn't working.
Yep.
So yeah, hopefully we can accommodate him.
Yeah. Alright, so the other TvZ here, Bunny looked decent enough versus Nurchio, to be honest, that I could see him taking on a Elazer who, like, kind of ramped up in his first best of 5. He didn't look very strong at all versus Thermal, started to bring it back, thankfully lost in the end, if you're a mod, for those payouts, but did he feel good enough about his TvZ to take on Bunny? I'm
confused. Why would that be a thankful thing? Nothing happened.
Oh, right. I mean, if you're a Thermal fan, you should be thankful.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so unload Big's time over here. There's a pretty nice Widowmine set up. We'll see if he gets the magic hit it's looking for. Let's say not gonna be the case. So Laser segments out one of those links. Nicely done.
This is a nice map course for bunnies. Once again, his appreciative of the. That's actually really cool.
I like that.
But his use of tanks here, like the Widowmine drop into the tank push, is very powerful.
And here we go. Tank going to be unloading in just a moment's time. That Overlord can be dealt with pretty quickly with the amount of Marines in play. And you know, these queens don't have a lot of extra energy. There's not going to be a lot of transfuses going off anytime soon. There's very little creep strike going on as well. So defending this is just going to be pretty difficult overall.
Yeah.
I am hoping by the way, if Bunny, like, I'm hoping to see Bunny make this work, so we just really, again, lock down and solidify the fact that Nurchio is so good. Like, for Bunny to win this series wouldn't make Elazer look bad. It would just make Nurchio look even better.
Yeah. And I really think that Bunny can. Just comparing the two best of fives and how they both looked, I think this would be a pretty even one with a good chance for Bunny.
Oh, well, as you say that, he kills a lot of his own Marines. He's going to lose the tank. He had just transferred up to the high ground, and Zombie Grub Caster Curse strikes yet again.
Totally. Well, I did say in the best of five, not in this game, so excuse you.
Excuse me.
Alright, so it doesn't do as much damage as possible with this push. I mean, because ideally you would get like the third base killed, but that doesn't happen most of the time. Most of the time, it's like all the queens die, or enough lings and roaches die that it's, you know, basically the same thing as killing a bunch of workers. Here it was 36 lings and 2 queens, and, you know, whatever miss macro happened for Elazer. It wasn't a terrible drop, and he saved both the medevacs, but it would have been nicer if he'd saved both the tanks, too.
Yeah. Having 2 tanks still dance around would actually be hugely viable to continue the harass, but as we see, all I can really do is kind of huddle up in this cubby, and that's about it. Might get some shots on these lings, not too bad.
Oh, run. Yeah, this would be a lot more effective with 2 tanks. And, you know, full medevacs, but he's trying to use what he can.
Oh, gonna get the creep drop? Nope, not later time.
No. Elazer going for what is standard, so not much to talk about there. Just gotta wait for his infestation pit. And Hive, and Bunny, of course, has to finish up all of his upgrades, which again, he favors the, you know, the double tech lab after the initial aggression, and then everything lines up all together for that big push. Which, I mean, we'll see how much damage it does. That's the one thing that kind of sucks, I guess, about TvZ right now. Is, especially, I guess, with these 2 players in particular, there are some Zerg players that are doing Roach Ravager all-in still, you know? Or, like, Sulky with the Tunneling Claws really was cool. Or, you know, we had a couple of Zergs try Mutilating Bling again, but just coincidentally, we have 2 Zergs that are really going for the exact same thing, which is pretty defensive and really puts the pressure on the Terran to do something. And the Terrans, they certainly have a lot of options. I mean, a Widow Mine drop, a tank drop, a 2 medevac, 60 marine drop. I mean, it's a lot of drops. But it usually gets deflected, doesn't end the game, and it's still like this, you know, usual 14-15 minute game.
Feels like that Forrest Gump, like shrimp talk.
It
Shrimp
really
cocktail,
is.
Drop cocktail,
Everything
drop
we
barbecue.
do is revolving around a medevac. I mean, even if you go for a Hellbat attack, there are powers in medevac healing everything with the Marines. Hellion drops, like you saw from the thermal.
Maybe that's how you fix Terran. You bring the Hercules to multiplayer. Boom.
Oh, yo. Okay, well, besides that, I was thinking, when we saw those ultras, just start slaughtering the bio, I was like, man, what if we had a unit that was like a bunker and it could just, like, add, like, another 5 seconds on top of your bio shooting at the Ultralisk before it dies. And then I realized it was the unit that I wanted them to actually make, that someone suggested. Well, that would have done that.
I still don't know about deployable bunker. I still think, like, just a Terran unit with, like, low health, but a lot of armor would be cool to see.
I want them to be able to have, like, I guess it'd be like the Footman skill in Warcraft. Like, you would press a button, and that would, like, get them a shield.
Yeah.
And they couldn't move.
Well, they could move, it'd just be very, very, very slow.
Well, I mean, if I was, like, gonna make a unit in StarCraft 2, I feel like it wouldn't.
No, I agree. That would be kind of cool.
Slow.
It's like, you know what you do? It's like the freaking Hellbats. They have, like, 2 shields for, like, hands. You might as well just, like, have them plant themselves in the ground or something.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's not gonna happen. Tanks will want to focus fire on those infestors to be the best tanks in the world. You know, everyone wants to be the best. But it's usually just not, a scenario that happens too often anymore. Usually there's a concave, and you're too busy stimming and running away from everything else to really have that focus fire.
Oh, God. Well, of course, Bow's going to take out all the medevacs.
Jesus.
Bunny has literally no medevacs remaining, but he's still going to stim forward and take out the Ravagers, so not going to go down without a fight. That may have been a really good engagement for Elazer, but he's down 40 supply. If Bunny doesn't overstim, and he gets a lot of kills with this will have been worth that fight for him, absolutely. Of course, Bow's missing. He's kind of panicking. There's no fungal growth ready to go for round 2. Base may even die.
This is probably a better scenario right now to not stim.
But while this went
18
on,
SCVs went down.
yeah,
That's pretty big, but he's still not bad on 45.
no, Ling's got to that base. Here's some tanks in the front line. Medivacs, please go heal that bio. Don't carry the tanks. Heal the units.
Oh my god, if you can imagine if only 4 or even 2 medevacs survived, he would have been able to stim the 3rd time.
Yeah, that base
probably
is so...
good everything.
It was kind of questionable whether he was actually going to kill the base for a moment there, but looks like he will kill that 4th, make up for it. Those 18 SCVs dying, that kind of sucks, but there's mules and a 4th CC ready to go. So Bunny should be able to repair these damages pretty easily, but it looks like he's pretty focused on this all in. Now, this was a really good momentum he gained from this. I don't know if he should entirely be tunnel visioning on this, though. Like, build some more SCVs or drop those mules or something. Looks like he transfers some over. Uh-oh, someone's lagging.
Game paused.
Uh-oh, who was that?
Everyone felt it, so I don't know.
I'm guessing player. That seems to be what's happening a lot with the player lag.
Yeah. Well, the battle continues. We have 7 ultras on the way, but they don't have plating quite yet. I think that 7 ultras might just be big enough, like in numbers, to take on what Bunny has. But Bunny's trying to rally everything he can forward. Gonna focus our down these 2 ultras. They didn't come with buddies, man. That was easy.
Yeah, without cutting his plating as well, just the bio alone would have been more than enough. Many important bases going down. Bunny scans that one to the north, though. He knows where his next target's got to be, but there's so many drones here. It's almost worth killing all those instead of the base. His plating's still not done. He's got a few seconds left where he can really take advantage of fights with these Marauders, but 10 seconds to go, and then those ultras become nigh unkillable.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but tanks over here just deny mining this at the same time. Not too bad. Drone's going to get slaughtered if they try and mine off this base. Tanks, though, need to be picked up and repositioned as those ultras jump on top of the army.
Just run. Yeah. He actually runs to the base, which is pretty clever, so he's probably going to get a kill on it.
Pick.
Okay, well, the bio still lives. Elazer is putting all of his ultras into the attack, it looks like, which might just win him the game. Even if he gets into a choke, these ultras finally have that plating.
Oh, I love this, using the bunker to get through. That was so clever.
He needs, like, any amount of tanks in the high ground right now do so much, but they're not there.
Yeah, he also doesn't have the Marauder count. He doesn't have +3 weapon upgrades. He's going to kill another base for Elazer. You guys have to consider what Elazer has right now and what he's making. That was his bank. He doesn't actually have that much money going in behind this. But Bunny also just can't kill what little there is in play by the looks of things.
That tank really helps. And that tank could siege up on the high ground now, but 27, 30 more SCDs go down, putting Bunny at basically not recoverable.
But the infestors get picked off. Not too bad. Starts making attempts at a comeback. Shuffle those tanks around, though, boy. Pick it up.
If he killed equal number to Elazer's drones, I'd be like, yeah, comeback real. But Elazer, while he doesn't have a lot of bases, he has a lot of drones.
That's very true. So long distance mining has actually been his income this whole time.
Yeah.
I guess how much saturation is that? Like 60, 66 drone saturation?
Most of it, yeah. If Bunny could just have a second here, he could start rebuilding, but he's not going to be afforded that much of a second while the ultras are actually going down, and that is impressive. Elazer could start to flood with Lings, for instance, and just make sure the command centers never really get a chance to land, and that would, burn this one up and then just take away any economy whatsoever from Bunny. Elazer's on his way to a 4th base. It's about halfway done, and Bunny's still stuck.
Bunny, yeah, so I was like, no SCVs to repair this. Oh no, why would you land that? Oh no! I think he was hoping to drop a mule on there or something. It's burning, it's going down.
The SCVs, they got a mineral walk to get to it. Mineral walk!
Well, they're choking out the ultra, so it kind of works out.
No, now repair!
No!
Oh.
Of course, Overlord started dropping creep while this went on, so this is still floating in the sky and not becoming a planetary. This is a pretty crappy situation for both, but in different ways, and I think Elazer's is a lot more recoverable than Bunny's.
Yeah. If Bunny had 30 SCVs, I think he still has a chance.
No! Just no into here.
There's Ravagers.
Oh, there we go.
No, it's a hope, but
I was looking around, I saw no queens, I was like, no way.
Any queens whatsoever would be able to walk around these Liberators the way they sieged. Get on the high ground.
GG. Alright, Elazer will take the first game of this best of 5 versus Bunny. For us, we're going to squeeze in a quick break, though, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon. Game number 2, ASAP. Alright, folks, welcome back. Game number 2 for the TING Open Losers Match, European Group number 2. Now, it's worth noting that the winner of this will go on to fight against the loser of Euthermal and Nerd Shield, but more importantly, they can only at best qualify to play in that second place finals match to have a chance to move on to the round of 16. Spawning, we'll talk more about that in a moment, but spawning in the upper left side, it's going to be the green Zerg player, up 1-0, Elazer.
In the bottom right, as the blue Terran, he is Liquid Bunny.
So interestingly enough, again, we have to have all these guys play their second, like the second place of each group has to play one more best of 5 to actually get through to the round of 16, on account of the fact that we invited players like Mana back for their performance last season to be sort of in that round of 16 European group. Now, the European group finals are going to involve versus Hearthstone, which I find really interesting. So there's no Protoss in this group whatsoever. It's going to be a completely different matchup for everybody involved. Bly came up first place, Hearthstone finished second. So in this group, the winner of Euthermo Nurture will be first place during the round of 16, no problem, no question about it. But the second place finisher of the group is going to have to play against Hearthstone in one best of 5 to determine which of those two moves on to that round of 16 group.
Yep. Which is an added best of 5. And, well, you're in it. When do we start paying out, by the way? Round of 8?
I believe round of 8. They let us. Round of 8's worth $200 now instead of 100. They had made the prize pool a little bit less top heavy and a little bit more rewarding to all those who get at least that far.
$250 for 5th through 8th. Yep.
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
No, not bad at all. But it is still a ways to go for these guys who are still in the round of 32.
Yeah. Quickly talking of things too. So this will be the last group this week. We'll finish up the remaining groups next week with both the North American and the wildcard groups, which I'm really curious to see which of those get through. The second wildcard group really intrigues me. The North American group is good, don't get me wrong, but like with Beyond and Billowy and such, I'm really curious who gets through that group.
Wait, when's the wildcard group? On
Sunday.
Okay. Yeah. When does the week start?
Oh yeah,
question.
We had that talk before, yeah. But yeah, Saturday's gonna be our first day off, which is a little bit strange and kind of cool, I guess. But Friday, tomorrow, we are casting Snoot's tournament, which is really cool. I'm really glad that exists.
Yeah, I am actually looking forward to well, how quickly we get bored of the map, but you know, if the map's really good, if we'll get bored of it.
Yeah,
and it's certainly pretty.
On top of that, too, for those who don't know, we'll be Snoot's partnering with Matcherino for it, so that open pool donations plus the codes, that little bit of extra hype, it's gonna be there too. Pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I really, I guess you're probably glad that someone else did the admin work. I guess I did the Matcherino things. I'm glad someone else did the Matcherino stuff.
Yeah.
Just a little bit less work. A little less to worry about, you know, paying out and whatnot. But anyway, what's interesting is that, so Saturday's a day off, which might sound weird to people who know us for doing the Alima League on Saturdays, right? That is changing, and we're going to be doing the Alima League for this week, or next week, or whatever it would be, actually. Monday nights for North Americans. It's going to be very interesting to see how that goes. I'm curious to how I'll do at a midnight cast. I've never done one before. I think the closest I got was a 2 a.m. cast for DreamHack.
Yeah, a big part of that is because we're trying to accommodate the Koreans a little bit and see if the different time zone lets them play more comfortably. Because right now, we're really limited on signups, and hopefully this will help improve that.
Yeah. Of course, you don't know that the Alien League usually goes to like 1 a.m. for them, so it's a little wonky. But enough about the future. This game is starting to heat up a little bit. We have our builds chosen, of course, and they look kind of similar to what they've always been. Double upgrades for Elazer. Going to be adding on that Roach Horn eventually. Bunny, though, going for a 2-base build, has got double drops going straight to the what looks to be the 3rd base. The natural is always tricky because you got to assume they're going to have a Spore Crawler there. And a Spore Crawler really does like dampen a drop, even if you get fully unloaded. So this might just be for creep cleanup. You could definitely kill the Lings if Elazer engaged too. So Lee's gotta be careful. Go back to mommy. Go back to your queens.
Oh, stimming around. Nice stutter step. Now it's just the queens. No transfuse. Oh. Single target. Line them up. Knock them down. Bunny gets some pretty good kills right off the bat.
Those queens didn't focus fire the medevacs either. So usually at this point, one would be almost dead. And that, again, is like really important. That's when it goes over Spore Crawler, and suddenly they got to pick up and leave. But this isn't going to snowball into a win, right? But
it kind of looks like it's heading that direction. Like, that queen's the last thing standing. The Spore Crawler doing more damage than the queens to the medevacs.
Okay.
He does pick up. He
See-
backs away, but 11 workers killed. 3 of the
Yeah.
queens stripped away. I mean, that was about the best drop Bunny could hope for off that.
Yeah. And if the sport crawler was not that natural, he could have just ducked into a mineral line and taken a super good trade at the Lings. But the medevacs were #1 priority to save.
I'm wondering,
That was
too,
pretty good.
he's got these medevacs, and that's kind of cool. I wonder if it was the energy being drained is what signaled him to get away, or if he just thought, okay, I actually can't take on that many lanes. Other side of the map, there's nothing to defend, but nothing to break this wall either. So as Marines get over here and Bunny repairs, oh, he just right-clicked instead of actually manually repair. You have to manually repair a refinery. I guess it won't break the wall, but it's still funny to see.
Yeah, it's always funny to consider that.
This wall
the
does
Marines-
break.
The Marines, they kept on trying to get the bunker instead of just attacking.
Dummies.
Yeah, dummies.
While this goes on, the tank is set up on this position. Medevacs unloading once again. No Ravagers out yet. Spire simply on the way. Bunny might be taking a little bit of damage back at home, but he should be paying back a laser in time.
This is interesting, though, that a Spire is on the way. A laser went for the double upgrades, and he went for the Roach Horn. I was wrong about
Oh
that.
god,
but I
Bunny's
guess
gonna gut him.
Maybe really aware of Bunny's, like, you know, that he would be the guy to do this push. Didn't want to deal with the tanks in the low ground with only Roaches and Ravagers, and is trying to get to a Spire. That actually takes away quite a few minerals and gas from what would have been Roaches.
Those rallied Marines walk all the way around and actually just coming through the front door.
Pardon us, excuse us.
Thank you, Jono1232 for the 5-month resub, by the way. Thank you very much for that. While this goes on, Bunny doesn't have his wall back up yet. He's now plopping that back down, so lanes won't be so problematic. This base, though, slowly but surely is going down. The medevacs are a little bit dry, so not a lot of healing to go on, but not a lot of healing necessary. So Lazer's kind of giving up on trying to defend. And while he might actually break the wall once again, there's stims. There's going to be that tank on the high ground. Bunny's running away with this game right now.
Yeah, he's won. That natural goes down. Not a lot of money to put into the mutas, or not a larva. Not a lot of larva. Oof. Only 2 mutas and a big bank behind it.
Even then, the mutas are really not that threatening. Liberators are out. Marines are out. I think Bunny's... it's funny because the Elazer still have 42 workers, but it's 2 bases. And for Zerg, that 3rd base means so much more than just mining. A lot of that's its production.
Yeah. This is... I mean, this is like one of those situations where you're like, okay, well, I have Infestors and Corrosive Bile, but this game, Elazer doesn't. He has mutas, which have really just reduced in chance to bring back a game. Like in Heart of the Swarm, I believed in mutas, no problem. Terrans believes in them too, but
GG.
Liberators now? Nah.
Well, game 2 goes to Bunny. They tie it up 1-1. And we're going to try and get to that 3rd game pretty quick, guys. Hitting you up with another small break, and we'll see you soon. Alright, folks, we'll go back. Game number blank screen. This keeps happening. There we go. Game number 3. It's tied up now 1-1. And in the bottom left side of Dusk Towers, we've got the green Zerg, Elazer.
In the top right, as the blue Terran, he is Liquid Bunny.
And yeah, this group has gone on so much longer than expected. Euthermal's even tweeting out some memes right now, which I absolutely love. Just retweet this real quick. Because this group, again, even if, like, let's say Buddy wins this and we actually delay that match, it's still going to already have been one of the longer groups. But a funny comment was made where, you know, we didn't really realize that the first series, that first best of 5 took almost 2 hours. And most don't. Most honestly take an hour to an hour and a half at most. But I didn't notice it, and time flew because I love watching StarCraft 2 with such good players, and I didn't realize it was 2 hours until someone else had actually mentioned it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the times I do check the clock about every hour. So I really have a good idea of how long things are going. But yeah, for different reason I just didn't bother, and I don't know what it was about it.
I think it's just too
Maybe it was
fun
the
watching
comeback.
people like Euthermal and whatnot.
I guess so. It might have been the comeback type of deal, though, because you expect that it's going to be 3-0, and then suddenly it's 4, or rather 3-1 and 3-2, and
Yeah.
just never bothered looking.
Well,
Anywho.
Dust Towers, speaking of long games, will probably give us another one of these. It is typically a map we see people do macro on. And that's not a bad thing, but that's something where I do worry for Bunny. Because while his tank shenanigans and drops and harass and all of these things have been great, and he's been nailing it where he needs to, at the end of the day, late game Zerg is really tough to deal with. Even if you are someone who uses ghosts and uses units exactly as you're meant to be, there's still counters to that. And that's what I love about this matchup. For example, when you see that Protoss matchup versus Zerg, it gets to the point where there really is literally nothing you can do. But for Terran, you're like, okay, Ultras are cool, but at least I've got Ghosts. And Zerg are like, well, the Ghosts are killing me, at least I got Infestors. And the Terran's like, well, then I got Siege Tanks. I've got a Hulk. You know, and so forth and so forth. Like, you've always got something that you can do different, and that's what really keeps me on the hook for this matchup.
Yeah. It is certainly one that flip-flops in a good way. One strength, another strength, another strength, another strength. Trap cards everywhere. But you brought up with his like Siege Tank and there's like King Sejong really played very well to Bunny. The drop didn't necessarily depend on the map at all. It was just
No.
catching Elazer off guard.
That
And
drop
that
was just so sick.
That shouldn't happen more than once in a best of 5, to be honest. Maybe back in like beginning Heart of the Swarm, you know, when boost evacs were still kind of new and
Boost
and whatnot.
Evacs? Who
Yeah.
calls them Boost Evacs? I've never heard anyone say that ever.
Oh.
Boost Evacs sounds like booster packs. And like, what are you doing? Buying
Yeah.
Pokemon cards?
Yeah, like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, just mentioned trap cards. Anyways, there's tons of names. There's Speed Vacs, Boost Vacs, I mean, Metavacs obviously are what they're actually called.
What if you
Metavac's
had...
actually a dumb name.
Yo, so like I know StarCraft 2 doesn't really have brawls like Hearthstone or even Overwatch. What if you had something where like you didn't get to
They
pick your
should.
units? Everyone starts off with like 50 Metavacs or Warp Prisms or whatever, and you didn't get to see what was inside until after it unloaded, and that was a random unit.
I don't get why they don't have brawls. I'm actually trying to think of
Well, they
maybe
kinda
like the
do.
skill difference
It's-
would be too bad.
Well, they kind of do it as the mutations, right? It's not the same idea.
That's-
It's a different part of the game, but it is that aspect
Yeah,
of random and
that's-
different.
Well, that's true. I still wouldn't compare them at all, actually. I mean, that's team-based. Well, I guess the brawls would probably be team-based too, actually. It'd probably be 2v2, 3v3. Well, anyway, like there's just nothing like the Overwatch brawls. Like I want like, you know, mono battles to be the brawl of the week, and then the next week it's going to be handicap at 50%, and then the next week it'll be Terran only, so you gotta like choose a different race, and I don't know. But some that keep people coming back.
You know what would be
So-
sick though? Would like Hearthstone, you got card packs you work towards. Overwatch, you got loot boxes. StarCraft doesn't really have something you work towards. Like, who cares about portraits, man? It's the only thing you grind towards right now.
I just imagine people just like grinding forward.
Jack Attack announced he's going to that summit. Maybe they'll unleash some skins and grind towards those. I'd be down
yeah,
for that.
I wonder.
I
what
would play
that
so
summit
much
will
more
be
ladder if I could get some actual skins.
Like. I wonder what that summit will entail. I hope he tells us.
I hope I don't shit my pants.
Oh, that's not. Let's not go there. Anywho, what are you talking about? Oh, right. What goal to go towards? Because this is Dusk Towers, and it's really holding true to Dusk Towers, guys. Nothing's happening. This isn't a double drop that's going to pounce on a laser. It's going to do minimal damage at best, as long as the laser's paying attention. But like, what? Yeah, the only thing you could work towards would be skins. But even then, I don't think that. Because like Overwatch came out with like, I think you have to open like 400 something loot boxes to get everything in the game. That won't be the same for StarCraft 2. Like, they'll come out with, like, 3 skins, 1 per race, probably initially. You'll grind that in no time. Now add more portraits, maybe you grind for those because you're a real tryhard. Still, like, it doesn't really take all that long.
Oh,
I just don't know
man.
what they would put in that would be just like, oh my god, I need everything. I need to spend a lot of time getting every single thing here.
I like this idea coming out of chat, and I know it's not going to be something that's, like, even taken seriously, but the idea that you wouldn't need a Ghost Academy to build ghosts, but you would like need something to upgrade like EMP and Cloak and whatnot, I would kind of be okay with that trade-off, because the Ghost itself is a very interesting unit.
I don't know. Besides, you know, maybe a couple more ghost cheeses, I feel like people still wouldn't use them mid-game. But that would be like less minerals and gas. Well, no, it wouldn't, because you have to research both of them.
I just wish they were more cost-effective. That's the worst part about them. Everything Terran has is not cost-effective
Oh, yeah, I really
outside of
wish-
Marines and Medevacs.
Well, Marines are definitely the most cost-effective, so I feel like we can't complain in that department.
Yeah, but I mean, they fall off so hard against all late game. Disruptors, Colossus,
but-
Tempest, you name it.
Hey, they're fine against Brood Lords when they get rid of them. And I was gonna say, yeah, I just wish that Brood or Ghosts were reversed in their costs, because they reversed so long ago. Let's reverse that. Let's give assimilators the same health as everyone else. Just fix all these things. You know what? If we go to the summit, We should just take a list of things they need to fix the last 6 years. Those stupid things that no one remembers.
That would probably be helpful to Blizzard. If only we were on a mailing list that we could...
Yeah, if only.
A mailing list that for some reason everyone else has access to except for us.
Yeah. Alright, well this did count. I mean, this wasn't the super early game. This is a 4th base going down, not a laser barely holding on to his natural. But it did pounce, and that was very effective. Kills a 4th base, 200 minerals instantly gone, gotta replace it pretty quickly too. And Bunny gets something done. Because he needs to. He needs to make sure the laser just can't easily get to Hive.
Well, infestors are coming out, and that's going to start making things a little bit dicey. We all know that fungal growths are one thing, but it's the Ravager Crocobot that combos with it to make it truly dangerous. And with all the roaches available, he's going to have a good number of Ravagers, no question about it. His army back at home is so bio-heavy. Like, Bunny, who is Mr. Tanky guy, doesn't even have tanks in production, much less a second factory, so... Maybe this is him hoping, like, with emphasis on bio, he'll have production, thus numbers, and thus brute force to win, but I don't know that that's going to be the case. Fungal growth will just take out so much of this army. Oh,
yeah, this
God.
is a very... It's not even that Marauder heavy either, which, you know, Marauders, they can last a little bit longer in general getting hit by stuff, but of course they're going to be great against Roach Ravager. Yeah, I don't really mind mass bio, but I really enjoy tanks, and like Bunny was like making them look like they're, you know, viable again. And it's not like Dusk Towers is like a no tank zone.
There's like a week where Poltony Thors look viable. It doesn't mean that they are.
Shut up. But seriously, like no splash whatsoever is always somewhat dangerous. It's also interesting that he's not going for anything from the factory, but he's still bothering to upgrade the armor. That'll help his Medivacs.
Yeah.
Usually you can
And
argue it
Widowmines.
helps with Widowmines and Medivacs, but he only has 2 Widowmines. Whatever. He's not getting anything.
Well,
from
actually,
the
it's funny because it might not even help Widowmines, considering most of the time they're killed by Corrosive Biles, not necessarily Lings or Ravagers auto-attacking them.
True for the Medivacs too.
Yeah, so armor upgrades are confirmed just garbage. Ah, big
they're just
fungal
garbage.
growth. Oh, big fungal chain. This bio army is dead. Bunny's just kind of got abandoned ship, but 15 supply goes down pretty quick. Drops down here to the south, though, might catch a laser off guard. He's got a lot of focus on these front lines, not a lot of fungals left. So this Marine Force catches some of these infestors. Sure, a fungal goes down over here, but there's no follow-up to it. It's just fungal growth.
Yeah, and they missed the second fungal with the Medivacs instead. Stim hurts so much.
It
But
does.
it's worth killing all the infestors. Oh,
Yeah.
it's sandwiching actually.
Kind of works out.
Oh.
Infested Terrans soaking some of the hits, but the Ravager's going down. Bunny might have just hit that sweet timing, but that army supply, while looking good, still isn't enough to just kind of A-move to win. He's rallied. Once this rally catches up, he might be a little too far ahead for a laser to deal with easily. I mean, look at this. Marauders obviously are not going to fare well versus Lings, and they're split off to the side. Not going to go too well for him. But the Medivacs are still alive.
This has snowballed, I think. Is the Elf Discovery down? It is down, but he's not
He can't
serving
afford
plate, and
anything.
He's not making any
He needs
ultras.
units now. He's got 1,500 minerals, but that larva count is down to 6.
GG.
I'm going to assume that was a weird mistype of GG and that he wasn't mistyping FAG.
Oof. Yeah, we'll just assume that.
No, we've actually met a laser in real life, but we've cast enough of his games to know that this guy's not BM. Like, he's really not that rude. But what he is bad at is sneaking into after parties.
Oh, jeez.
Him and
Oh,
who's the other
jeez.
one? Someone got thrown out. Dead Pixels
oh my
player.
Yeah, I can't. Elroy.
Yeah, Elroy.
Wow.
Yeah,
totally.
a laser's like in the nightclub, just like hoodie completely on. It looks like Kenny from South Park. He's like, nobody look at me, okay? Nobody identify me. All right. Yeah, he says, can you straighten that up on stream? Yeah, we did. Like, that was not him typing anything rude on purpose, guys. So we're gonna go to the next match, game number 4. Small break before we get there. We'll see you guys soon. All right, folks, just finishing up loading into the game. Here we are, game number 4. It is a little bit dicey for this guy in the bottom right. There you go. Press all the wrong buttons. It's gonna be the green Zerg, the Polish Elazer.
In the bottom left, as the red Terran, he is Liquid Bunny.
And I once again just want to clarify, guys, like that was just a simple mistype of whatever he was trying to press to end the game. Bunny even making some jokes about it, like, wow, I thought he was calling me a fag. Like, oh, like it was just a mistype. It happens. It's unfortunate that, you know, FEG looks so similar to another terrible word, but...
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we know.
You know, cigarettes
Yeah.
in Britain, bad for your health. That's why it's so bad.
Yeah. I had a French teacher who was American, but she traveled around Europe in her 20s. And then there was another French teacher in the same school that was French. And she was like 50, 60 years old, very old-fashioned, stereotypical French. And she's lived in the States for like, I don't know, like 5 years at that point. Still kept calling them that word every single time we had to... Well, not we, I was in her class. Every single time the other class would just, like, snicker. She didn't want to give up that word. Like, something she didn't know. She just didn't want to give it up. Like, people who call, like, rubbers, right? If you're going to Europe,
Oh, you know what?
and
It's
being
like... No, here's a better example I think that might be a little more relatable to people. Because, you know, virgins. Clicker versus controller. This is something I've had a big argument with my family, like, for my whole life. Do you call it like the remote controller, or do you call it the clicker?
controller.
So a lot of people who are older call it the clicker, and I finally found out why like a couple of years back, and it's because the old remote controllers used to actually click. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few people who will just call them clickers for the rest of their lives, even though they're remote controls. I actually had a small awkward moment of this myself. I was trying to find my DS, and my mom had no idea what a DS was, so okay, my Game Boy. Oh, it's over by the fridge.
Oh, well, I thought you were gonna say clicker is a bad word.
No. Clicker sounds like a bad word, but I mean.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Clicker is. I was just saying, like, it's a word that you're not going to give up easily, like just because you've learned it one way. Like, it doesn't matter whether it's good or bad or has other context. The clicker could actually become a racially insensitive term for, like, I don't know, people who click when they talk, so the Vietnamese. But point is, like, there are no way, like, you're just giving up that phrase. You've lived with it for 20 years. You're going to keep calling it that.
I get that then. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. I love the rubber thing though. Like,
Actually,
can you hand me a rubber? Oh, okay, I guess.
I love Aziz Ansari's stand-up actually when he
wallet.
talks about racist slurs, and he likes to make one up on the spot, so he calls the guy a Kit Kat. Sit down, Kit Kat! He just say anything with enough hate in it becomes like a racial slur.
Yeah, he's a pretty funny guy.
He is. Alright, so rocks being torn down for Bunny. Looks like Elazer got to see that, so he might start working on the other rocks or trying to run the links by. Time being, he was just thwarting off the Reaper, but that's pretty much been handled.
Right. Ruins of Endion is another opportunity for Bunny to use tanks. It was surprising to see him just completely forgo tanks and like really any factory production at all last game, but it worked out favorably. You just had enough bio, which is the trade-off, you know? If you don't go for the factory, you have... no teamwork.
Yeah, Bunny's like, no, these are mine. No kill stealing.
You have a lot more bio to work with, which is hopefully like a good trade-off, a good enough trade-off. And that game it was, but I think this map you would have a much better time going for tanks with the chokes, with the rocks, with the ledges and the whatnot, and the kajiggers.
Whoa, again, another word you can't quite say.
You effing kajigger.
Okay, so Jigger, please. Tank on the way for Bunny. He's gonna have that medevac paired up with it, but there's only like one medevac, right? Yeah, so it's gonna be a little bit awkward. Just starts with the Marines, and I guess wait for the second one to shuffle over the tank. With the rocks still being up, he's got the ability to do some damage. But when the rocks go down, so much of that is stripped away immediately. You know, we talked about him looking so good on King Sejong. Regardless of the push, like terrain easily to abuse over there. Same sort of logic going to try to be applied here.
With the tanks, this could take on the Queens and Lings no problem, but without it, it is just bare Marines. Naked Marines with a medevac. I think an Overlord for the trouble. Little stutter step, little micro.
Alright, so it doesn't lose anything. Not bad. Rocks are going to get torn down, though, and Bunny, sadly, doesn't really have the opportunity to terraform the map in the way I think he wanted it to. Because he would have also ideally knocked down these rocks as well, but Elazer is taking no chances and leaving no opportunities.
Yeah, this is a good forethought. And it's honestly, if you're going to have Lings, I mean, their jobs really do something. You know, if they're not defending, if they're not attacking, then breaking down rocks should be the next thing. They are so close to having breaking those rocks. Damn. Just tapping it will probably kill them. I'm gonna try and get on top of the tanks first. Just pick them up, put them on the high ground though. There you go. Tanks so good.
Alright, so he's blasting away over here on the right side. This Queen Count, I guess he just wants to hide him because the transfuses are almost good to go, but as the Lings flood in, the tanks pick him off one by one. Not a problem, as Bunny just gets this. He's got 3 medevacs. This isn't that 1 medevac you barely push off. This is really big problems for Elazer. Picks up that tank, puts it on the low ground, second tank scooped up as well.
No.
He might lose some of the Marines to this. 1 medevac finally goes down, but this has done a crazy good amount of damage.
Yeah. Yeah, if the more Marines are still alive, this would still be doing damage, but even the 2 tanks alive means he can continue to harass whenever he sees Lings kind of, you know, bulk up. That's not quite free damage. This one Ling is so clever by Elazer, just throwing it out there. Clever by Bunny to do that. Wow, that's like the first time I've seen anyone do that. While they're splitting their tanks,
hey,
so another one could kill it?
I used to do that on Arkham all the time, man. So, also,
Whatever.
I'm noticing between this debate for the remote controller, clicker, whatever you want to call it, spread a lot of discussion. This brings up another topic we often discuss with people at live events about how you wash your armpits. Because apparently this is something that is crazy different as well. Where either you lift your armpit, like you lift your arm way over your head, right? Arm in the sky type thing. Or you just lift it up to the side like a chicken wing, like if you're doing the chicken dance.
I asked my mom this.
So here's the question for chat, you guys. Do you arm over your head or do you do the chicken wing? Which is it? What did your mom say, by the way?
Chicken wing. Well, at first she didn't understand. She was like, well, you know, I raised my hand like this, and I was like, no, when like you're washing and like in the shower, and she's like, oh, no, I just, you know, chicken wing.
So my favorite thing, I think of our first time we ever discussed this on stream, was the higher the stink, or you raise your arm, the higher the stink, or something like that. Like,
I don't know why would I ever raise my arm? Like, just like, it's more work, you know? Just not being lazy. The benefit is raising your arm.
Get a better
up
clean,
high.
man. It stretches it out, you know, pores on your skin and whatnot.
Well, you can get the same amount of stretch when you chicken wing. It's the elbow that changes, not the
I disagree,
shoulder.
man. Way different muscles get used.
No, literally, like when you raise with the same shoulder and arm, but your elbow changes positions depending on if you chicken wing or raise it completely.
So we got tunneling claws coming out of Bunny. By the way, if it's not clear, we both very much differ in opinion on how one should clean their armpits, guys.
You should be very careful.
Tunneling claws.
You just need to be more careful in the shower. So I suggest you go for chicken wing, because you just bumping everything.
All right, tunneling claws is on the way. I like this for the idea that Bunny has been tank heavy, and I think roaches with tunneling claws are a great way to sneak underneath those tanks. But unfortunately, when it comes to fighting bio generally, they don't seem to get a lot of benefit from it. Actually, it was funny because it wasn't actually. I think it was Elazer on this same map tried to do it for Thermal, hiding the roaches over here and here just earlier today.
Yeah. Were you making the motions with your arms? Or
Oh, the whole time we're talking? Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
100%.
good.
Raising it above my head and everything.
Okay, good. Alright, so that's a large amount of lings to definitely take on a bunker if they really wanted to get it hard enough, but that is going to be costly. I actually managed to surround the bio, which ends up being worth it. So I didn't expect that to happen, but it did. I guess the lings did have a bit of an upgrade lead, so that worked out. The big attack, though, coming on the south side. Does Elazer even see this?
I don't believe he does. And the worst part about this is, like, he knew one side of the rocks were down, so you can kind of question mark Bunny attacking the south at some point, but he's going to catch wind of it now. The Infestors on the front lines, Bunny segments a small amount of units forward, knowing that those fungal growths are going to be available. A little bit scary, a little bit worrisome.
Another counter into the third base of Bunny, but this is a similar scenario where it's just like, okay, if his third base goes down, he'd still be on 3-base mining just about, you know, especially if he pulls the SUVs.
Fungal only catches one tank. It doesn't even let the corrosive bile kill it. 7 health remains. 21 kills on this badass. 22 on the other. 13 on one. This is looking pretty good for Bunny's units. They've been alive for such a damn long time. That supply lead looking great. He is a little bit down in upgrades, but look at that tab. 10 seconds to go, and he's going to be on 2-2.
Yeah. This is looking quite good for Bunny. Elazer's got to wait for those Ultralisks, but you know he had a problem last time with Larva, and just, just focusing way too much on the defense. This army is not that impressive from Elazer. If it gets its spells down, it can do a lot of damage, but Bunny is specifically not clumping up to get those beautiful spell combos, and he is just rallying forward through the south. I guess the Tunneling Claw roaches were cleaned up, Okay, he bulks up a little there, but his tank's just still alive, so he saved most of it. But yeah, I guess the tunneling claws was cleaned up by reinforcements, and now Bunny's real reinforcement line makes its way across the map, and Elazer, I don't think he's gonna have time to get to tightness plating.
No, maybe not, but I'm also just tickled pink at all the different responses here for the chicken wing debacle. I told you guys, it's weird, right? Who thinks about stuff like that? But Tank's going crazy here on the back lines. These guys are seriously veterans of 4 wars now. 29, 30 kills on one, 21 on the other. There's other fresh Tank on the front lines. A little bit silly to be caught out there. Fungal Growth will keep it in place. Corsair gets a kill, but this bio cannot be touched. This bio won't be stopped, and Bunny looks like he's about to knock Elazer out of the tournament.
It looks like it. I didn't expect this when he first got into the cast, but based on both of their performances in their individual best of fives, I could have seen this happening.
Yeah.
I actually thought I'd go 3-2, but more impressive for Bunny.
I would be right with you on that too. That's a really smart way to call it, but it's not how it went. Unfortunately, though, Elazer, nothing really left. One Ultralist is going to pop here. It won't have chitinous plating. There's 7 more on the way, but it's not going to be enough. GG gets called, and Bunny will advance to the finals of the group. But here's a little bit of a catch, guys. This means we won't play the finals out live today. Does this mean we'll play the finals out before the round of 16? Absolutely. What we'll probably do is ask Bunny tomorrow or something to play out the game in private with whoever he plays against, Euthermal or Nurchio, and we'll just cast that at the tail end of whichever group we do next. I think it's the North American one or the wildcard one. Whichever one we have spare time for, we'll cast that with it. But that does wrap up this loser's bracket, and congratulations to Bunny. He lives for one more best of 5 potentially. Next up, that's going to be Nurchio versus Euthermal. This should be a really dicey, really sick one. I do have to explain to the players what's going on, because the other players may be unaware. I know that we talked about with TvZ and you and I, but just so both Euthermal and Nurchio are fully aware of what's going on. So again, thank you to Elazer for playing. We wish him many good fortunes in the future. He plays in a lot of our tournaments, so it won't be the last time you see him here on the channel. But we're going to go to a word from our sponsors. They're going to talk about the devices that can come over to TING, and we'll see you guys soon.